I speak to so many people on a daily basis. In fact, hundreds of consumers on a monthly basis about their credit score goals. After speaking with hundreds of people every single month, especially new people that I'm introduced to, their number one goal with their credit is to get their credit scores in the 700s.
You would always want to be on the side of having good credit.
You think it pays to have good credit? Why would somebody want their credit scores in the 700s, right? Well, the reason behind that is when your credit scores are anywhere between 720, 740, 750, the chances of you being denied for something is very slim. Now, once that credit score goal is reached, that's not the end zone. That's just a quick yes or no if you're approved for a home or a vehicle or whatever the case is. Once you're past that initial yes or no, you then have to go through the qualification of DTI, which is debt to income. But that's a topic for another episode. We only want to relate to the 700 credit score goal and why it's important to get there. And again, when your credit score is over that 700 mark, that is usually the minimum requirement for a lot of accounts, which is going to qualify you for the bank's lowest rate. When you're in the 600s, they're going to raise those rates, which means it's going to cost you and your family more money out of your pockets. To keep this episode very short and straight to the point, here are some credit tips to make sure you get to the 700s fast. Number one, no negative accounts. Even one negative account can take someone from a 800 credit score down into the 600s. So you have a late payment, a collection account, or whatever the case is, you need to find ways or work on getting that item removed or wait 7 years for it to naturally fall off your credit report. Because by having that negative item on there, again, that is going to prevent you from being in the 700s. Number two, you need a mixture of credit accounts, which means you need both installment, which are things like loans, and revolving credit history, which are accounts like credit cards. Without one of the other, your credit scores will never be established. You cannot build credit history with only a loan type. Vice versa, you cannot build credit history if the only thing on your credit is a credit card type. You need both mixtures of loan accounts and credit card accounts to establish your credit scores fully. Next tip, very important. You need your credit cards to be paid in full every single month. When you report a balance to your credit reports from your credit cards, that is going to drop your credit scores. I have seen clients lose over 100 points just because their credit card usage has increased from 10% or 5% or 0 all the way up to 80%. That is the number one thing that I see on a daily basis that is affecting consumer credit reports and credit scores. And again, credit card balances, they have to be paid. Pay them in full if you use your card. That way, you're not paying interest. That's more important because if you're paying interest, that's money out of you and your family's pocket. So again, pay those balances off in full every single month so it's not costing you interest, and make sure that balance is reporting at 0 every statement date, because that's the date that the bank reports your balance to the credit bureaus. And if you have a little bit of a balance, it is going to affect your credit scores by a little bit. If you have a lot of balances reporting, then that is a lot that your credit scores is going to drop by. So again, make sure those balances on those credit cards are paid. And for the last tip, something not big as much as credit cards, but hard inquiries. Yes, this is actually that can slightly affect you a little bit. You want to have at least less than 5 hard inquiries within the last 2 years. Mostly people who are trying to get into the 800s, they say to have at least less than 3, but I know a lot of people apply for things throughout the year. So at least 5 hard inquiries within the last 2 years. And for those who don't know or don't understand the difference, a hard inquiry is a mark on your credit report every time that you run your credit. So if you go to one car dealership and if they submit your credit profile to 10 different banks, that is 10 hard inquiries on your credit report from that one car dealership. So Your best way to get into the 700s fast is to make sure you have less than 5 hard inquiries on your credit report within the last 2 years. If you follow all of those tips that I just gave you in this episode, you will be in the 700s in no time. Thanks for tuning in to this episode. If you wish to be a guest on our podcast, visit SturgisCreditRepair.com and click the podcast page to schedule an episode. If you need help with your credit, you can also sign up at SturgisCreditRepair.com and start your free trial today.
Sturgis Credit Repair. Sturgis Credit Repair. If you want a new house, call us. If you need a new